This is Football Primetime. I'm your host, Bill Dean. I'm, of course, here with my two co-hosts, AJ and Brett. Brought to you by Primetime Radio, Kirsten Sam Wu. I am behind the keyboard today. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Apple, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Please leave us a 5-star review if you'd be ever so kind. Thumbs up. Tell me on the streets that you love what I do and that AJ sucks. Whatever you want. We're okay with all of it.
It's always I suck, isn't it?
What?
It's always I suck, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of bad reviews. I don't know what to tell you, but just got to step up your game, your football game. Just step it up.
And Brett did a pretty good job.
I listened
with you mysteriously out.
I had a lovely. What was it, last week? Yeah, it was last week. I had a lovely dinner for my company, so I needed to be at that. Their holiday dinner, they did at the end of the season, the end of the holiday season, instead of earlier, which is always interesting, but I do love my company, so it was good to get out, see some friends, enjoy the limelight. I got paraded all over the place, so that was good. All right, gents, football. And I know I listened to the pod last week, very good. You guys need to watch your Facebook Live a little bit more. I was making comments. You guys didn't even pay attention to them. I mean, come on, man. Jesus.
Oh, we can ignore you.
AJ's on the Facebook Live part. He's getting there.
There's other people on there. That's just me. There's other people that send love. All right. So obviously, good games last week. We're not going to get into the ones that you guys went over. But the ones that happened on Sunday. And Saturday, too. Saturday and Sunday. Which game would you guys like to start off at? Because, I tend to go towards the fun ones, but maybe we want to do some blowouts first, or do you want to talk about – and then we'll get into coaching because there's been some major coaching news, including one today, which was a little baffling. But divisional round, let's talk about a little Houston action because they ruined my whole weekend. To start, right off the bat, it was 4 o'clock on a Saturday, and they immediately crud the bed and blew my bets.
Yeah, I kind of saw this one happening.
I didn't.
The Texans,
did not.
I just felt like the Texans were gonna come down to earth a little bit, and CJ Stroud being a rookie, right, quarterback, didn't have a good game at all. I didn't think. That defense for Baltimore was fantastic, and the offense too was lights out. So the Ravens are scary. I did think at the start of the game that they would have a little bit of a rust, just having that bye week. I think we kind of saw it a little bit too with the 49ers where they had a little bit of rust not playing. But yeah, I mean, come that third, fourth quarter, they were just so dominant, and I don't know. I just expected kind of that Texans offense to struggle a little bit.
Yeah, I wasn't too different on that. I was expecting the Texans to struggle, not because I think their offense is bad, but going against the Browns and Ravens back-to-back weeks, we're talking about two of the premier defenses in the league, and we're talking about a rookie quarterback. I think Stroud's had a great year, but that's a tough playoff sled, getting the two of the best defenses in all of the NFL in back-to-back weeks. I thought it was going to run out for Stroud against the Browns. It happened 1 week later, but it did finally happen. Lamar looks like he's back into full gear. He had 4 touchdowns, so he looks great. But in general, this is kind of what we were expecting from the Ravens. They have this, when their offense is clicking, to go along with their defense, they are mighty good. The Texans are right there. They were kind of working on borrowed time, and what I mean by that is, by all means, I think the Texans season was a success. You accomplished everything and so much more. The fact that they made the playoffs, won a playoff game, have solidified their franchise quarterback for the next 10 years. Huge wins all around for the Texans. So no reason to hang your hat on only 10 points, even though 7 of the 10 was from a pick six. So really only 3 points from the offense. Not a great game, but lot to look up on if you're the Texans, and pretty much what we expected from the Ravens.
So I took the Bengals. I took the Ravens on the points, and in the beginning of the year, you could see that, when they played when they played Cleveland in the beginning of the year, C.J. Stroud had probably his worst game to date. And you could see that he kind of changed that around in the last 2 weeks ago, their win 45-14, whatever it was, against Cleveland. And he kind of shredded what I believe to be the best defense in the NFL, which this year I think really was, metrics I know called the Jets. I know that the Ravens have the accolades, but I think that that Cleveland defense was the best one I saw this year. And he shredded them. And I was like, how can you give 10 points to a team that played extremely well the week before? I know it's the Ravens, the number one seed. They beat the Niners, all this other stuff, but that's a tremendous amount of points. And I figured that they would take that and be close. I thought the Ravens would win, but I didn't see them just dismantling C.J. Stroud. And he had, I think it's his worst game of the season in the playoffs. 175 yards, 19 of 33. His QB rating and his QBR was like 50s. They couldn't get anything going in the rushing, which we kind of expected because, I think Baltimore has a great rushing defense. But we don't talk about this guy enough. Kyle Hamilton is him and what's his name from the Buccaneers, Winfield Jr., are the two best safeties in the NFL, and it's not even close. They are absolutely ridiculous. And Kyle Hamilton, they could use him in every single way: corner, safety, at the line. He plays nickel. The guy is so good, and he's had one of those years when you look at it that is extremely impressive. And I don't know, I really thought that Houston would be better with that offense, the wide receivers, they'd be able to play off that a little bit. And they couldn't. I mean, Baltimore impressed me. I am a little nervous about what's going to happen in this week, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, I thought Houston it seemed to run away from them, and they had a great year, and we can't, talk enough about how C.J. Stroud played and how much the Carolina Panthers effed up that draft. But listen, they're going to be. He's already a top 10 quarterback in the league. I'm going to say it right now. They're going to be a force to reckon with, and the Jaguars fans, and we know one of them. You guys are in trouble because this kid is legit, and unless your guy can get it turned around and your coach and staff the whole deal, you get some severe issues. So
yeah, AFC South is going to be a division to be reckoned with for the years to come, especially if Anthony Richardson pans out and Indianapolis could be a lot of fun in that division for the coming years.
Yeah. All right, AJ. 49ers Packers, that Saturday night game, and we were, hanging out, enjoying the game and stuff, but that Niners game, and I'll get into a little bit, but that fourth quarter they finally come alive. I was kind of expecting the Packers to take this one.
Yeah, I thought so too. Especially the way they just kept it close, hung in there. This was the one that I was actually worried about the most offensively. Right, was San Francisco coming off that bye week. You thought that you would have Debo in the game. Which he was, but he left early because of the shoulder injury. It just, they seemed kind of out of sorts. Purdy, with the rain, it looked like he was going from try on the glove, then he
was rusty,
get a grip. So the bye week was a little, obviously you get the rest and stuff like that, but I don't know, they just looked off the entire game to me. And the Packers have a good offense. They've Jordan Love, I think, has proven that he's a legit starter in the league. He showed that last week or the week before against Dallas, and this whole entire season he's played really well. And their wide receiving core, right, has played really well this season with guys stepping up. I think I saw a stat where there was 10 or 11 different wide receivers that have got a reception from Jordan Love this season, and he's kind of distributed the ball each week to a different guy, so you didn't necessarily know who he was going to or targeting the most. But yeah, I mean, I think this is a game that Green Bay is kind of wanting back, obviously, because they were in it the whole entire time, and it just an errant throw at the end by Love, definitely hurt. With that pick to kind of seal the game, and I think there's a player or two beforehand too, before San Fran scored that was like another little bit of a head scratcher, but a lot of good things for the Packers. And it's funny when you think Aaron Rodgers, leaving, that they would have a down year, and yet they're a playoff team and their offense is good, and it's the same thing like the Texans, right? It's nothing but up for them, moving forward. So.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a similar thing as like the Texans, as AJ just mentioned. Like, this is still a success for the Packers. You accomplished so much more than you're heading out to find out the season. The Packers' only goal of this year was to figure out if Jordan Love was going to be it. And they figured that out, made the playoffs, and won a playoff game. So it all looks great from here, besides the one errant throw at the end of the game, which only is highlighted as being so bad because it was on first down. Just throw that ball away. But the thing that is going to hamper the 49ers, and I'm sure we're going to get into a little bit more, but I'll bring it up now, is the absence of Debo, him leaving early. You can see it in the offense. It doesn't function without him. And this is kind of how the 49ers work. They got their 5 main players on offense. I'm talking Purdy, Kittle, McCaffrey, Ayuk, Debo, and don't forget Williams at the line as well. They need all of those guys in the game for their offense to function. And when one of them is missing, it shows drastically. And even just Debo, 2 games that Debo missed this year, not against stellar contenders or anything like that. He missed against the Vikings and missed against Cincinnati, and they were only able to put up 17 points in both those games without Debo.
So now, which is a counter to that, and Debo's nasty. This is not like a Debo's not the reason, but they were also missing Trent Williams, and I think he's one of the few offensive linemen, him and maybe Penei Sewell, that when you take them out, and they actually have seen numbers changing, when you take them out of a team like either the Niners or the Lions, they actually lose points. And that happened with Trent Williams in those games where they actually lost points for a lineman. It's that he's that much of a game changer. I mean, this is an all-pro. He's a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer. Might be one of the best left tackles to ever play football. And he is so nasty. And I agree. We'll talk about it in a set. When we go over the games, that hit Debo's absence, and you've already seen the line move, is going to be a big thing. But that. This Niners team has tons of talent. They still have the left tackle in, and it's going to be interesting how they do it. But this game, right?
It's what we discussed at the beginning of the season. When all 6 of those offensive pieces, and they have to have all 6. When all 6 are healthy, best team in football. When one of the 6 is not playing, they come down to earth very quickly. And it's going to be a concern for them going forward. They need to have all 6 of them in there. It's mainly because if you look at the offense, when you lose one of the wide receivers or you lose one of them, Debo is a great player with the ball in his hands. Route running ability still leaves a little be desired. I'm not saying he's a bad route runner by any means, but we all know Debo does his best work once the ball's in his hands. I think Ayuk is their best wide receiver in terms of route running abilities, but once you take Debo off the field, you have to take 2 people to account for him because he breaks so many tackles and he's so elusive. So it just makes everyone else's job that much harder when you take a guy like that off the field.
Yeah. See, Purdy in the beginning of the game was not good. For really 3 quarters, he was pretty bad. Christian McCaffrey, for his running abilities, 5.8 average. He had the 2 touchdowns, including the one to seal it. But when they needed the touchdown, Purdy came to life. He had that great catch to Juwan Jennings, who played really well in Debo's absence, so we'll see how that carries out. But, Christian McCaffrey, 7 for 30 in receiving. They were able to do checkdowns, get him moving a little bit. I think they still are the better team on this Sunday, but we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Real quick,
but
just because
go ahead, AJ.
I saw something earlier on it was like Twitter or TikTok or whatever it was, right? But that the 3 losses that San Fran had this year, Browns, they lost 19-17. Who gets injured that game? Deshaun Watson. Yep. Next week, they lose the Vikings 22-17. Who gets injured that week? Or the following week? Kirk Cousins. The week after that, they play the Bengals, lose 31-17. The following week, Joe Burrow gets injured. When they played, was it the Ravens, right? They lost 37-19. The only reason why they lost, or they had the 19 points, was because of the safety, and the ref falling back and stuff like that. So just I saw some conspiracy theorists being like, the ref must have traveled back in time to cause the safety so that they lose by 2 points, or by 19, and Lamar Jackson doesn't get injured the next week. So I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, that's not bad. I like that. All right, Sunday games. Brett, the night game was ridiculous, but let's go to that 4:00 game. You saw a team in Tampa play what I thought was pretty competitive football for a little while. Baker was, 350 yards. He leads the league in passing through the playoffs. But and Mike Evans was awesome. But the big thing was Jahmyr Gibbs and what amounted to a really good rushing attack. And then in the game, in the ending parts of the game, they gave the ball to Jared Goff, 2 touchdowns, and he's able to pass for those first downs, which kind of just stop the clock. The crazy thing, I don't know what was happening with Todd Bowles. Once again, I think he's an idiot, but he is in the playoffs. He's going to get another season. They actually had an opportunity to take a timeout and get the ball back with like 4 seconds left. How do you not at least try? You're down 8. You could still score a touchdown. Like some miraculous not Hail Mary, but some miraculous punt return or something. You could get the ball back, and he just let it go.
I get the frustration from fans who want to see that happen, but
they concede.
We're talking football. Minuscule odds here.
It doesn't matter. You take the chance. Minnesota miracles happen all the time, right? Or they don't happen all the time, but Minnesota miracle. You have the Stanford band play. There's so many things that could happen, and just crazy stuff, and he just let it go.
I just think if you're going to do that, right? So the thing was, right, the Lions got the ball back with like a minute 33 left, right? And Tampa only had the one timeout or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was also an error by the Lions. The Lions didn't use enough clock between one of their snaps, which is what caused it. So in Todd Bowles' defense, he probably was just assuming that the Lions wouldn't have a blunder like that and would use all the time necessary to run out the clock.
So dumb.
Yeah, it's a mistake. I mean, they still needed a touchdown and a 2-point conversion to even tie the game. So we're talking a massive uphill battle. But in general, this game was great. I loved it top to bottom. Buccaneers did pretty much what we were expecting. I said it, 20 to 25 points is what you were going to get from the Bucs, and the Lions responded and put up 31. Still a little concerned about the Lions defense, but not as much as I was. I mean, if their offense can keep chugging at this pace, 30 points a game, that's going to be hard to beat.
Yeah. Edge?
No, I mean, I thought they played really well. Gibbs played a great game. Goff, when he needed to make the throws, he made the throws. It was nice actually seeing Jameson Williams, get involved a little bit more and more. I feel like he's been a huge kind of disappointment since he's came in the league, right? Obviously, he had the injury his rookie year, and this year he's been a little off. But I thought it was a great game overall. Like kind of Brett said, I'm a little nervous about them playing the 49ers. Just with their defense still being a little shaky, but that game, right, could go, I think, any way if Debo's out, right? I think Detroit has an opening to make it interesting like the Packers did. So I thought this was a pretty good game, and it'll be interesting to see kind of how the NFC South plays out after the draft. kind of how teams go from here, because Tampa could be another contender next year for the South. So
Yeah. The Monarch State Brown's nasty, and we talked about Gibbs and Montgomery. Sam Laporta coming off injury, 9 catches, 65 yards. He made his presence felt. Jahmyr Gibbs, though, is just a freak, and they're going to be very dangerous this coming week. It's going to be very interesting to see. But yeah, Mike Evans, 8 for 147, a touchdown. He's not leaving the Buccaneers, but if that is his last game, it's a pretty good way to go out. So good for Mike Evans. Rashad White also played well. We got to note that. He 9 for 55 rushing, but he also had 4 catches. He had the touchdown. So, all right, Sunday night game, and another just absolute crazy game between two teams that hate each other, but that are also respect each other. The love between Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes, not too many passing yards, 215, but did what he needed to do in the big moments. Isaiah Pacheco is a road runner. I mean, that guy is awesome to watch. Travis Kelce had a decent game. Casey wins 27-24. And it's, they're going to blame the kicker, Tyler Bass, wide right. It's just some word, it's two words in Buffalo language that they can't stand. Khalil Shakir with a really good game. He had the touchdown from Josh Allen, that second to last one before Pacheco put it in the end zone. Kelce with 2 touchdowns. You had Josh Allen the rush in and a bunch of field goals between Butker and Bass. I forgot that Josh Allen actually ran it in twice. I'm not blaming the kicker. I mean, listen, kickers miss all the time. It happens. Bass had a bad game. Josh Allen, and for as great as he is, you have to be able to beat the best quarterbacks in the league to be considered the greatest, or to be considered one of the best. And he continually in the limelight flounders. He does. He has bad games. He puts his team in bad positions. There was two before that field goal missed. He had the 2 moments where he, missed guys, either whether in the end zone or underneath that could have led to first downs. And listen, I'm a Jet fan, and it's fun to see Josh Allen and Buffalo Bills continually flounder because it's in my own division. I don't want to see them happy. But at some point, it's not about the team or the coach, even though the coach should be fired. They should get someone else. It's about him, the quarterback, and you got to take in the moment. You have to beat the best guy, and he hasn't done that. He's lost to Burrow and Mahomes.
Yeah.
You go, AJ.
No, I was saying, I think he definitely missed some throws. Right, the one that they were in driving. Right, he threw the ball a bomb to Diggs. Right, and Diggs just kind of missed it. Right, I kind of blame Diggs on that because that's right there. That's something that he should have. But the one where they're in the red zone, right, that led to the missed field goal. He had, I think it was Kincaid cutting through the end zone. He had him, and he just kind of was like a little bit of a short duck, right, that just kind of landed at his feet. Looked like I forget who the defensive end was that was pushing that lineman kind of into Allen a little bit. That you would think kind of had some kind of effect on it, but yeah, I mean, I think he missed some throws. But I was a little curious on some of the play calling. The run game for them was working really well, but
12 for 72, 2 touchdowns for Allen.
I thought that they could have passed the ball a little bit more, been a little bit more dynamic in that sense.
But the run was working. Actually, I would account because the run was working, so they were actually getting yardage. It's just in the moments, Allen just didn't get it done.
Well, see, I want to stress away from that because my thing is I think you guys are hitting it on the head. The run game was working, and what I'm actually going to commend this for, I'm going to give the nod to the coaches in this aspect. I think Kansas City at halftime made a tremendous adjustment to stop the run game because in the second half, Buffalo could not get the run game going. But if you watched Buffalo since they switched offensive coordinators around halfway through the season, they've been relying on that run game on first and second down to set up Josh Allen on those third and shorts. So what I'm trying to allude to here is a lack of adjustments made by the Bills once the run game was getting stifled. They just kept trying to go to their usual run game on first and second down. And yes, Allen could do more, but they weren't putting him in great positions on third and down, constantly being met with those third and long situations in the second half. So at the end of the day, what I think the big shift in the second half was Kansas City making the adjustment to say, we're going to stop the run game because that's what's working for Buffalo, and then Buffalo not being able to make the adjustment to realize what Kansas City was doing. So as much as I want to put this on Allen, I can't put it on him. I do think, if anything, I'm putting it on Diggs for dropping the long bomb and the coaching staff for not being able to adjust when Kansas City was able to make the adjustment and win the game.
Yeah, I agree. And that punt, that fake punt, right? That DeMar Hamlin.
Oh my God!
They checked into. That's your fake punt run play. Like that's something that you check into, right? Like why not go
apparently,
for a pass?
Casey only had 10 guys on the field, and that's when he checked into it. And that's the play you ran is pretty crazy. Yep. And of course, if DeMar Hamlin hits that and gets the first down, he's gonna win comeback player of the year because that's what just would happen. So. Yeah,
I mean, I get you run that fake play, but it's 4th and 5. We're not talking 4th and short. Like I get that you see 10 people on the other side. That's got to be a home run play if you're running it on 4th and 5. If it's 4th and 1, you see 10 people on the other side. Do it. Do a sneak. I don't care. You can do whatever you want and try to pick up 1 yard with an extra man. But 5 yards, that play's got to be money.
It's got to be a pass. That's got to be a pass play. That can't be a run play like that.
Listen, all I'm going to say is Patrick Mahomes is inevitable. And that guy, as long as he's in the league, he's going to make AFC championships and he's going to continually play like a beast. The big moments, and this is what it is. In the big moments, he shines. And that's the difference, I think, right now between him and Josh Allen. Burrow has had those moments too because he's beaten Mahomes and Allen. So those are the two quarterbacks. So we need to see Lamar, and this is going to come this week. We need to see Lamar and Josh Allen take that next step, and they have to beat these two guys. The reason that we're not seeing Burrow is because obviously he's hurt, but those two, as far as I'm concerned, are the two best quarterbacks in the AFC, and they will continue to be unless they get dethroned. And
I think another big thing too that Kansas City has done is they've gotten actually younger. They got rid of obviously Tyreek Hill was aging a little bit. They got younger receivers. They got younger guys on the defensive side, right? Where the Bills, they got older, right? Like they're an aging core. So Mahomes has so much more of a window now, right? Where the Bills have a little bit of a shorter window with Allen and the contract that he's going to have next year, right? Where it's like $40+ million or something like that he's getting.
$41 million cap hit next year.
It's rough.
I know that Diggs has been awesome since getting to Buffalo, and I'm not going to. But could you imagine them with Justin Jefferson instead of Stephon Diggs if they just kept the first-round pick and gone that way? And maybe that's something they need to do. Maybe they need to trade Stephon Diggs and get younger at the wide receiver position. Maybe even take someone from your Cincinnati Bengals in T. Higgins and take him away.
I wouldn't stress that it's as much getting younger. If you really look at the Stephon Diggs stats, it's what we've been talking about. The clear change in his entire season was when they changed offensive coordinators and decided to commit to the run game. Mm-hmm. But the thing, when you have Josh Allen, do you need the stud wide receiver? My point is, like, when so much of your game is done near the line of scrimmage between RPO handoffs, using your big body, do you need the stud wide receiver? If anything, if you look at
I think
Khalil Shakir had more receiving yards in the second half of the season than Stephon Diggs and had a third of the targets. We're talking over 400 yards receiving for both of them on 20 targets versus 86 for Diggs.
I think you need the go-to guy. I think you need the go-to guy, right? So, like, you have Lamar and you have Andrews, right? Like, he's just go-to guy whenever he needs it.
Exactly.
Right? With Mahomes
and Kelsey.
For the most part, it's Kelsey. Yeah. So Diggs is
and you look at Brady and Gronk or Brady and Moss, and everyone has had that guy that they knew they could get that extra yards. And just, I don't know if Diggs is awesome in the regular season. I don't know if he's that guy in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'd agree. But the other thing is, all those guys that you just mentioned, when'd you hear them yell at the quarterback or complain about their role in the team?
Well, Diggs needs to. I think Diggs is the
always-
issue. Is part of the issue.
Yeah, that's
But
what I mean.
I think that if you're trading Diggs, you bring in somebody else that can play that role.
Yeah.
I still think that Allen needs that guy.
I'm more agreeing with you guys on the sense where I think, yes, trade Diggs. I'm not saying you don't need a go-to wide receiver. I'm just not sold it's Diggs. And especially if they want to commit to the run game as much as they want to, yeah, I still think you need a guy, but maybe a guy who's a little bit more okay taking the back seat and letting the run game do its job might be a better fit for Buffalo. And you could probably get someone cheaper too.
Well, yes, that's the thing.
And
right?
I actually also think this. Bill Belichick. Rex Ryan said it. You have Bill Belichick sitting there, and you're in the division, and maybe it's worth giving him a ring and ask him if he wants to coach his team. I know it's in the division; it's going to be hard for him to say yes, but I don't think McDermott's that guy. I don't think that. And he's a good coach, but there's so many reasons to let go of this guy. And if I was them, I'd at least bark down that path. Just try it out. What happens?
Yeah, I consider when you're looking at Kansas or not Kansas City, when you're looking at the what was I going to bring up? Just looking at how sad the Bills franchise is, it only going to get worse. Just look at the years of misery this franchise has had to endure.
Yeah.
Jim Kelly getting so close so many times, not getting over the hump.
Yep.
Then Tom Brady shows up in New England. You got to go through every single season losing to Tom Brady. And then Patrick Mahomes shows up in Kansas City. And now you lose every year to Kansas City in the playoffs. It's rough if you're a Bills fan.
Yeah. All right. Sunday, January 28th, Championship Sunday. Kansas City at Baltimore. That's the 3 p.m. game. Detroit at San Fran is the night game. I actually wish they switched it around a little bit, but still. Kansas City at Baltimore. I think Baltimore gets the win, but it's going to be very close. You have a tremendous run game with Lamar, and despite all the great things you said about Patrick Mahomes, the passing game just hasn't been there as it needs to be, and I feel like you need to have that passing game in order to beat Baltimore. Their passing defense is good, but their rushing defense is better. We'll get a little more analysis from you guys, but I'm going to take KC and the points on this one.
KC and the points. I'm going to go the opposite route, and it's mainly because what we were talking about here with the Ravens and what they did last week, which was just absolutely stop the run game of the Texans and make them completely one-dimensional. As much as we talk about Mahomes, Kelsey, and the passing game for the Chiefs, they've been running off of Isaiah Pacheco's legs for the good portion of the last half of this season. And I'm very concerned that the Ravens are going to find a way, just like they did against the Texans. Obviously, Pacheco, a much better running back than Singletary over with the Texans. But if the Ravens can shut down Pacheco, I think the Chiefs are going to struggle in this one. I really do. But also the Chiefs have a good defense. So in this one, I think the Ravens just are the most complete team left out of the four. They're healthy. They're clicking on all cylinders. So I'm taking the Ravens, and I'm taking the under on this one.
I'm with you, Brett. I'm going to take the Ravens too. One of those factors is that Mark Andrews, right, has been a participant in practices, so it's looking like he's gonna go. And I think having that blanket right for Lamar, that guy that he knows he can go to, is huge. And you have him, and you have Isaiah Likely, who's been stellar, right, in Andrews' absences. So I really like the Ravens. I would really like the Ravens offense. It's tough, right, betting against Mahomes, Kelsey, and Taylor Swift. But I think Baltimore, +4.
Did you guys see this? No, Baltimore -4. Baltimore -4. Baltimore -4.
Sorry, Baltimore -4. That's what I meant.
just quickly on that, did you hear who the referee is going to be in this game?
God.
So, yeah, I forgot his name, but it's the guy that has the best winning record for road teams in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
That he calls more penalties against road teams than any other team. Only the NFL could have that kind of scenario happen to them, where it points to Taylor Swift making the Super Bowl, and it's extremely funny how that just seems to happen.
Well, I like the other conspiracy theory of you see like the past like
colors.
3 or 4 logos for the Super Bowl have all been basically the teams that have made it. So it's the conspiracy now is obviously it's going to be was it Chiefs and I think it was Lions,
No,
right?
Chiefs Lions.
No,
Chiefs Lions conspiracy, because then you have
purple.
Taylor Swift versus Eminem, right?
Oh no, it was the other one. That was the other meme that we saw. Yeah,
Okay.
I think Brett, you're right.
The other meme
it's
is
Ravens.
based off
It's
of
Ravens 49ers.
Yeah, that's based off of the colors for the Super Bowl, right? It's Ravens Niners. The last 3 Super Bowls has had that boy.
So AJ, you taking over
we'll
or
see
the
what
under?
happens.
So I'm taking Baltimore -4.
Oh yeah.
And I will take the over. Right, Bill, you have the over.
Yeah,
as 44 and a half.
I'm doing Chiefs and 44.5. I'm taking the over as well. All right, Detroit at San Fran. We talked about. Wow. So we talked about obviously, the injury to Deebo Samuel and how that would affect this game. The line. So I was just watching the line. It was +7. It just changed to +7.5. So I don't know. Does that mean that Deebo Samuel just had something come out saying that he is going to be available? Oh, returns to practice after shoulder injury. So yeah. So the line just changed after they announced this article an hour ago. The line just changed to +7.5. So I am taking the lines and the points here, and I'm actually going to do the under. But I think the Lions could win outright. I think that they have the type of team, the type of offense. I know that the Niners are good, and Brock Purdy has played a great, had a great season and all this stuff. But I think the flowers come off the blue, the rose a little bit here, and maybe he can't have that same game against a better offense like the Detroit Lions. So I'm taking Jared Goff on the road, primetime Jared Goff. I know he doesn't usually play great, and I'm going to say that the Lions, +7.5 is that's got to be the better way to go on this one.
So I can't go against my Super Bowl prediction, right? So I have to go 49ers. I'm going to go with them -7.5. I don't know. I just have a feeling that this offense, right? If Deebo does go, that they kind of get it back together. They start stronger in that first quarter, first half. I think this game will be an over. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored, especially with Gibbs. The way he's played, St. Brown, Goff. So I'm going San Fran -7.5 and the over. Right, Bill, you have it 51.5.
51.5, yeah. I got it at 51 a couple days ago, but yeah, it's 51 right now. And a half, sorry, 51.5 right now.
See, I can't disagree with the over on this one, but
over.
I'm going to go with the over. I'm going to also take the 49ers. If Deebo is there, I just think it's what we're saying, that those 6 guys, they're so crucial to that team. Yeah. But when all 6 of them are there, they're just the best team in football. And it's as simple as that. So I'm going to take the 49ers in the over.
And it doesn't look like it's going to rain. So that's a +2, right? Because Purdy was struggling, last week in the rain. So it looks like it's going to be overcast from what I see on ESPN's AccuWeather that they have.
Mm-hmm.
Last week, by the way, William, you went 6-2 with your bets. Brett, you went also 6-2. Me coming out on top with 7-1 again, leading the
goddamn Houston,
leading the weekends.
I'm just happy I turned it around after wild card weekend. That was rough.
Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah,
that was rough.
You're bad.
For you.
All right, let's do a couple of coaching items that happened this past week. So you have the Panthers, right? They're gonna hire, the Bucks Canales as the coach. That just came out. Canales obviously was the offensive coordinator. Dave Canales had a really good year with Baker Mayfield, bringing him back from the depths. So that was good. And it's an interesting hire for Dave Tepper, who wasn't going to get anybody big named out there. The other one was, what was it, a couple days ago, 2 days ago, you had Jim Harbaugh, Chargers. Something we all kind of thought. I thought he would be there.
Great hire.
Yeah, really good hire for them, and we'll see what happens. The shocker, Raheem Morris and over Bill Belichick with the Falcons. I know that Raheem Morris has got a ton of credit recently, and he had his opportunity, and it kind of with the Bucks, and it didn't go well. But LA Rams, he's been so good as a defensive coordinator, and I understand that, but you had a chance to get Bill Belichick with that type of offense, get a quarterback in there, turn that franchise around, and they're going to go with a young guy, and I understand it, but it was a shocker to me.
No, I'd agree. It's not so much a shock that they didn't hire Belichick. It's more of a shock to me that they went with the unproven head coach, especially just when I think there's a good amount
Morris,
of...
It's not like it's his first time. You don't mean it by that way. You mean it just unproven as in he's not good, or was not good in his last stop.
I mean, it's not like we've even been looking at the Rams as this dominant defensive team over the year. So I mean, he must have really impressed in the interviews. I'm just more shocked that they passed up on some really good coaching candidates, especially in like Mike Vrabel, Bill Belichick, not to mention anyone else who's out there. Just I thought those were going to be the two cream of the crop guys, and it's just kind of weird now. You're looking at the I think 3 head coaching vacancies left. What do we think we got? We got
just 2.
Commanders and Seahawks. Is that all that's left?
Yeah. That's all I see.
Yeah, Commanders and Seahawks, and I feel bad for Vrabel. I don't want either of those jobs. If anything, I'm probably leaning towards the Seahawks job. The Commanders job is interesting, but after the complete gutting that they've done to their roster in the last year and a half, especially on the defensive side, it's a tough sell. So in general, I'm just more surprised that the Falcons went the way they did. I guess they're trying to catch in on the trendy trend of the young head coaches taking over in the NFL, kind of the changing of the guard, but he's got an uphill battle. I mean, he's a defensive-minded head coach, obviously coming over as defensive coordinator from the Rams. I know that's where the Falcons want to focus, but still, just that gaping hole that is the Falcons quarterback position just looms so heavy in my mind. It's just interesting that they didn't bring in someone to mentor that along, because you got to assume that they're probably going to be drafting another quarterback this year.
Yeah. And then you also had, I forgot to mention this, the Titans with Bill Callahan's son, Brian Callahan, offensive coordinator for last year for, he was with Cincinnati Bengals. I knew I was going to miss it. Another good hire for them too. I like Brian Callahan.
Yeah, maybe if you're Vrabel, you're waiting. Sorry. I'll say maybe if you're Vrabel, you're waiting till next season. Maybe take this year off and kind of see what kind of comes around next season for you. If he's not liking kind of what he's seeing, maybe he wants a proven offense, kind of thing that he didn't have in Tennessee, kind of those last few years, right? With the QB, right, and he didn't get the LA job, Maybe he wants an offense that's maybe underperforming a little bit that should be better, and try to build up a defense for a team like that. I don't know.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if I'm Vrabel, I might wait just because. Where would you rather go, Commanders or Seattle? It's hard to say. I mean, I guess maybe Seattle, but you're also looking at Seattle and wondering, how much longer is Tyler Lockett going to stick around there? How big of a contract is DK Metcalf going to ask for when his contract's up? Well, what are you going to do with the quarterback position? Geno Smith did not impress this year.
I said that whole
the good thing with and I was say the good thing with Seattle, their GM is one of the best in football. Schneider is all world. Like, you have steadiness in the front office, which is, I think, a talking point, a good thing. Also, I saw that Vic Fangio is going to be the Eagles' defensive coordinator after leaving Miami. So that was another quick coaching ad. Did you guys see, just quickly before we head out, the finalists for AP AP Most Valuable Player and Offensive Player of the Year awards?
No.
What do we got?
You had Lamar Jackson, Christian McCaffrey, Dak Prescott.
For Offensive Player of the Year?
For Offensive Player of the Year, for Most Valuable Player and Offensive Player of the Year, Josh Allen and Brock Purdy are also finalists for MVP. Tyreek Hill and CeeDee Lamb are the two other finalists for Offensive Player of the Year.
MVP, it's going to be Lamar at this point. Purdy was the only one I thought had a chance, and then that one disappointing game really set him back. I love CMC, but as the league has developed into quarterback central, it's going to be hard for a running back to win again unless you absolutely set the league on fire. When I mean set the league on fire, like, you got to have close to 2,000 yards rushing, and maybe in Christian McCaffrey's case, another 1,000 yards receiving. So he's got to get close to 3,000 all-purpose yards. He's not quite there, so I don't think he's going to get it. So I think it's going to be Lamar.
Yeah, I think he probably wins
Browns,
MVP, right? And then McCaffrey probably wins Offensive Player.
AP, yeah. The Browns have 4 finalists in 4 different categories. Myles Garrett for Defensive Player of the Year, Stefanski for Coach of the Year, Flacco for Comeback Player. I think he's going to win that. And then Jim Schwartz for Assistant Coach of the Year. The Texans have Offensive and Defensive Rookie of the Year candidates in C.J. Stroud and Will Anderson. They could be the second duo to win, in a row, with Jets last year getting Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner. You have Micah Parsons, Deron Bland, Max Crosby, and T.J. Watt joining Garrett for Defensive Player of the Year. You have Sam Laporta, Jahmyr Gibbs, Puka Nacua, and Bijan Robinson joining Stroud for Offensive Rookie of the Year, which I think it's going to go to Stroud just because the quarterback always wins. Eagles defensive tackle Jalen Carter, Kobe Turner, the defensive lineman for the Rams, Steelers cornerback Joey Porter Jr., and then Seahawks cornerback Devon Witherspoon join Anderson as finalists for Defensive Player Rookie of the Year, which I like Devon Witherspoon. I thought he was great for a Seahawks team that was god-awful on defense. So
I think it's going to be Will Anderson on that one. Just an absolute home run by the Texans.
Yeah, 2 good ones in a row. Comeback players are Baker Mayfield, Stafford, Tua, Hamlin, and Joe Flacco.
Wait,
and
Stafford?
then the other coaches, Stafford, because he was hurt last year.
He was hurt last year.
The other coaches are, so it's Stefanski, D'Amico Ryans, Dan Campbell, Harbaugh, and Shanahan. Not bad.
Want some trivia?
Not bad. Oh.
Let's do it. Oh, just one last thing I saw. This was after the lovely loss for the Cowboys 2 weeks ago. Since 2000, playoff wins: Dallas Cowboys 4, New York Jets 6. The Jets, by the way, haven't made the playoffs since 2010. So in 10 years versus 24 years, they have more playoff wins. Conference championships, 0 for Dallas, 2 for the New York Jets. Once again, the Jets have not made the playoffs in 14 years.
Or not even that. Going off what you're saying, the stat that I saw is the Lions have had a season in this century where they went 0-16, and they've still made it to the conference championship before the Cowboys did.
Cowboys. Yeah. I love it. I hate the Cowboys. I'm so happy that they have Mike McCarthy's dumb face back in Dallas. It's fantastic.
Good old Jerry's world.
All right, Agent Trivia. We'll get out of here.
All right. So San Francisco quarterback Brock Purdy is the 5th QB in NFL history to win a playoff game in each of his first 2 seasons. Which other 4 quarterbacks did he join?
So 2 wins?
So to have a playoff win in each of your first 2 seasons. So he had a win
All right,
his year. and then winning his.
Give me
this year.
Brady.
No.
Yeah, I don't think he did.
Big Ben.
Big Ben is 1. 04,
Yep.
05.
Yeah, Ben. Yeah.
Would you
not
like a hint?
Mahomes, so he's sat a year.
Would you like a hint?
Well,
Yeah, let's get some hints.
Yeah, light hint, sure.
They've all happened within the past 24 years.
Ooh, I think I know this. Is Mark Sanchez one?
Mark Sanchez is 1, 09 and 10.
Sanchez.
Sanchez, Ben.
Sanchez and Big Ben's walking boot.
2 of these quarterbacks are still in the league. Well, one is fringe in the league now, potentially.
Is Flacco one of them?
Flacco is one of them. 08, 09.
All right, we got 3 of the 4. So there's one more, and he's still in the league.
One more still in the league.
Stafford?
No,
Brett,
he didn't win
close
anything
home for you.
What, AJ?
Brett, this might hit close to home for you.
Oh, Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson, 2012 and 2013.
Yeah, I like it. It's good. Not bad. All right. Well, listen. A lovely, fantastic football season coming up to Championship Sunday and then Super Bowl in 3 weeks. I am happy and elated that these are the teams here. They are the 4 best teams I think still left in the playoffs and that were in the playoff picture. And it only makes for good football to watch. So for AJ, for Brett, I'm Bill Dean. Appreciate the time. And this is Football Primetime.